Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Caffiero. Today we are going to move into a brand new lesson and a brand new standard. We are in Module 3, Lesson 16. Our new standard is NBT 2.6. It's all about division. Specifically, we are going to find whole number quotients and remainders with up to 4-digit dividends and 1-digit divisors using strategies based on place value, the properties of operations, and or the relationship between multiplication and division. So today, specifically, we're just going to work on a certain part of that standard. Today, we are going to find whole number quotients and remainders using strategies just placed on place value. So the materials that you need for today's lesson are pencil, paper, and your math workbook. So go ahead and pause the video now to gather your materials. Okay, now that we have our materials, let's go ahead and get started. So in lesson 15, which was about 2 weeks ago, we learned how to use arrays and area models in order to divide. Today we're going to learn a new strategy, which is place value. We're going to use a place value chart to divide a 1-digit and 2-digit by 1-digit numbers. We're going to work on a couple examples together, and then I'm going to show you how to do number 1 in the problem set so you're aware of what it is you need to be doing. So remember in lesson 15, we started division, and we started with something simple like 10 divided by 2. Now, chances are you already know what 10 divided by 2 is right off the top of your head. But if we wanted to make an array or an area model out of it, you can see this is exactly how we would do it. In the array model, we would create 2 groups and see how many would go in each group until they're even. In the area model, it's exactly what it sounds like. We would draw a rectangle and we would simply use division to find the width that we're missing in this case, which would have been the 5. We also learned how to do numbers like 11 divided by 2. So it's the same method with an array as the last problem, 10 divided by 2, except you have this one remainder here. And in the area model, it's the same thing here, where you have 2 rows of 5, but then you just have this one little square here, and that's a remainder. So the answer is quotient 5, remainder 1. We are going to continue working with remainders with our strategy today. So we are going to start by dividing 6 divided by 3. So we are going to create a place value chart of 1s and 10s. And we are going to start with our dividend. Now our dividend is our whole, which in this case is the 6. So we have 6 1s. Okay, our divisor tells us how many groups we're trying to split it into. So we are going to create 3 groups here. So we've got our 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups here. Okay, so we have 3 groups, and we want to take these 6 1s and divide them into 3 groups equally. So I'm going to take 1 here and put it in this group, 1 here and put it in this group, 1 here, put it in this group, another one in this one, another one in this one, and another one in this one. Now, it's just like when you pass out candy to your friends. You want to make sure everyone gets an equal amount, so you pass them one at a time to each person, and then you go around a second time. Now, in this case of 6 divided by 3, we have now used all of our 1s. We've used all the 6s, and we can see how many are in each group. We have 2. So in this case of 6 divided by 3 equals Q for quotient. 2 is the quotient because there are 2 in each group. Okay? For our next example, we have something a little bit bigger. We have 36 divided by 3. So we are going to once again put it in our place value chart. We're going to take our dividend of 36 and we're going to split it up. So we have 3 10s and 6 1s. Okay? And we need to have 3 groups. So 1, 2, 3. So we are going to start with our tens. Anytime you are dividing, you always want to start with the larger place value. So we have our 3 groups here, and we need to take these 3 tens and divide them into 3 equal groups. So I'm going to take this one, put it here, this one, put it here, this one, put it here, and then I'm going to move into my ones, and it's going to look just like it did in our previous example because we've already done 6 divided by 3. So this one goes here, this one goes here, this one goes here, and now we can start again. We get a second one here, a second one here, and a second one here. So in each group, we have 1 10 and 2 ones. And we can rewrite that as 12. So 36 divided by 3 equals Q, and 12 is equal to Q because 12 is the quotient. So you've got 1 10 and 2 ones. That gives you a total of 12. All right, 5 divided by 4. So I'm going to create a place value chart. And I have my dividend, which is 5. And I'm going to take that 5 and I'm going to put it in the place value chart. So I need to have 5 ones, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to take my divisor, and that tells me how many groups I need to split it up into. So I need to create 4 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to start passing out these candies just like I have in the last couple problems. So I've got 1 here, cross it out, 1 here, cross it out, 1 here, cross it out, 1 here, cross it out. Uh-oh, I still have 1 left over. But if I put it in group 1, then I won't have equal groups. So you could say that it's my remainder. So I already know that my remainder is equal to 1. And now I can look at how many I have in each group, which is 1. So my quotient is 1 with a remainder of 1. So 5 divided by 4 equals, we'll say Q. And it's going to be quotient equals 1 with a remainder of 1. Now, when it comes time for you to put in your answers for your exit tickets, your answer should look like this. I should not see decimal points. We have not covered decimals. If you have a decimal point in your answer, you're using a calculator and you're not following directions. This is how we are going to solve the problems in the problem set and the exit ticket so you understand this strategy and understand how to write your quotients and remainders. All right, so now we're going to do number 1 in the problem set. Now you can see I've done a little editing here, so it doesn't look exactly like what you have in your book. It says to show the division using discs, the place value chart, check your quotient and remainder by using multiplication and addition. Now you can see I crossed out this relate your work on the place value chart to long division. We are not doing long division. You will learn long division in 5th grade. I do not want to confuse you. Oops. So we are not going to worry about long division. We are simply going to use the strategy that we have learned. So we are going to start with 7 divided by 2. 7 is our whole or our dividend. So 7 is what we put in our place value chart. 6, 7, and we need to create 2 groups. 1, 2. So now we can pass out these candies to our 2 friends. So we put 1 here, cross it out so you don't use it again. And we put another one here. Now we can go again. Okay, and you're just going to keep going until you used all your candies. Now when we look at this, we have a remainder left. So we already know if we try and put this with our 1 friend, our other friend's not going to have the same amount. So we already have a remainder of 1. And when we look at each group, our 2 groups here, in each group we have 3. So our quotient is 3 with a remainder of 1. Now, in order to check your work, you're going to take your quotient and write it down, and you're going to multiply it by your dividend or your smaller number in your division problem. And so that's how they got the 3 times 2. And when you do 3 times 2, you have 6. Well, that's weird because that's not what we started with. We started with 7. But you have to add your remainder. So you take whatever your product is, you add that remainder back in, and you should start with your whole that you had at the beginning. So 7 and 7, this checks out, it is correct. All right, so for your problem set, you're going to be in your math workbook, pages 69 to 70. Your must-dos are 2, 3, and 4. Your can-dos are 5 and 6. Please make sure that you do check your work and that you're following the directions. Please remember that for the problem set, you do not have to do anything with long division. You do not have to do anything with this middle symbol here. That's why I've crossed it out. You just have to use the strategy that we learned in this video. Your exit ticket will be up under the assignments tab, so please make sure that you complete it and check your work before you submit it. Remember that your answers should have a Q with an equal sign and an R with an equal sign to tell me the quotient and the remainder. I should not see any decimals in your answers. If you have any questions, please reach out on your private channel.